I was originally drafted, and then I thought about it, and my father being a pilot and having a plane aviation was close to us, and I decided to join the military to become an air traffic controller. He was in World War II in a B-17. He wasn't a pilot at that point in time. He was an engineer, flight engineer. And when he came, in fact, his favorite story is that he flew home in the B-17 in the co-pilot seat. So he flew home as everybody was very relaxed, drinking. And so anyway, he flew the rest of his life, you know. And as a child, I used to go flying with him up in Armonk in these tail draggers in the 50s. It was hard to believe how much fun it was. And then he went on and ended up with a Beechcraft. He owned 2 different Beechcraft Bonanzas, IFR rated and stuff. And we used to fly around the country. Helping out my fellow soldiers, being in the control tower, and they would always have questions and ask for help. Like when the dust-off pilots would be coming in, and we had a great relationship with them. You know, they would ask us, they would tell us how severe the case was, and, you know, we gave them a straight into the dust-off pad. And, you know, just, you know, helping save that person's life, not that I had anything to do with it, but just being on that team and being present was an amazing experience, you know. And, you know, we had a relationship with the medics, and we would find out how the guys were doing afterwards. We would call down because it was a constant, it just happened every day. I mean, in these stats I have over here, there was, I think, about 280 medevacs in a 3-month period. And it was something that just kept you on your toes. There was always many helicopters, and we used to have the C-130s doing constant resupply with ammo and mail, most important. But what would happen was they would call us and say, we're coming in the west, we got, you know, 2 severe casualties on board, not casualty, 2, you know, patients. And we would break out all the other aircraft and give them a direct, and everyone have to do 360s and then reestablish the flight plan. But in order to save them like 5 minutes of flying around to land, you know, so they had a priority. It was a true total emergency. Everyone knew it. You know, all the pilots, there was absolutely no problems with it, you know, the cooperation. I didn't realize at the time it was one of the most amazing experiences for me, because I was in an area called Quang Ngai Province. Duc Pho is the name of the town. The name of the base was LZ Bronco, which was a fire base. We had a 3,500-foot runway. We had 10 Huey helicopters. You used to call them slicks, and 4 or 5 gunships. And there was approximately the 11th Brigade, 1,000 11 Bravo infantry, and 800 would always be out in the field, and 200 basically would be on stand down. And it was just amazing to watch the support, the sorties of the helicopters to resupply them with ammo, water, whatever they needed. The gunships, to give them, you know, fire power at any time. It was just unbelievable. And here I was, a young kid, I don't know, 21, 22 years old. And it was hard to believe, if I could just hold that thought for a second, watching the Afghan-Iraqi war, where everybody looked like they were much older. Because in Vietnam, nobody was over the age of 25. Maybe a lieutenant colonel was 30 or something like that. Everybody was really relatively young. And to have that experience, you know, the pilots, what they could do, you know, when there was a ball, we used to call them a ball game, and that was making contact with the enemy, you know, and the gunships would just scramble out there, and, you know, you'd look off in the horizon, and, you know, because we had a great view, we were on a hill, and it was just exhilarating in one sense, you know, to watch the teamwork, and it was incredible teamwork most of the time. Some congressmen would come, senators, things like that, and it was always amazing when they showed up. They would, you know, we were told in advance they were coming, and we had to clear the airfield and stuff like that. But then I would look up and I would see all these I was going to say F-16s, Phantom jets circling the base. So I felt secure that nothing was going to happen as long as we had some senators or congressmen there. It was kind of funny. When I came home and the country there was protests going on that were unbelievable. And you didn't tell people you just came home from Vietnam. I mean, I found that out very quickly. And I couldn't figure that out. It took me a while. It really took me a while to sort it all out. But I was so thrilled to be home, that it was, all behind me. And, just made me a better person in hindsight, no question about it. I'm very glad that I served. This is a great story. So now I fly into California. I'm trying to think of the base, the Air Force Base, Travis Air Force Base, right? And I ETS. I leave the Army. And they give me a duffel bag. And it was funny. I had no ribbons, and they told me if I stayed an extra 24 hours, they would give me my ribbons, etc. I said, I'm leaving. I'll pick them up another day. So this young guy I rode on the plane with, and we ETS together. His parents were from Oregon, and they drove down and they met him at the gate. And so we both come out, and the parents, instead of going to Oregon, drove me to the airport, which was, pretty far away. And that was pretty cool. And so I got my first flight to the East Coast, which was Philadelphia. I slept in the airport. We arrived there, let's say, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was sleeping on a couch. An MP came up to me, thought I was a deserter because I had this. And he asked me for my orders, and then he apologized, and that was kind of cute. So then I caught a plane to LaGuardia, took a bus to Midtown Manhattan, and I walked around for about 2 hours. And it was pretty amazing. And I had my duffel bag on my back, and people were like, just looking at me, but I was just walking on water. Then I took the train up to Pelham, where I live, and I walked home. And a lot of people in Pelham saw me walking home and called my parents. And it was just an amazing couple of hours, the whole ordeal. Coming home after all of that. It was such an amazing experience to be home, knowing that I wasn't going to die in Vietnam.